Hey folks, welcome back to HeartGold vs. Crystal. We are here in Fuchsia City, going wherever the winds may take us. But they won't be taking us here because there's a roadblock. Apparently some construction going on. And this means that we cannot access the Seafoam Islands, Cinnabar Island, or Pallet Town, or the rest of the region over on the west side of the region through the surf routes. We have to go through Diglett Cave. Which is okay. Didn't want to go there now anyway. Jeez. Anyway, let's head to Route 15 and a bunch of other associated routes. And this area is undoubtedly 100% without any sort of qualification or denial. An area purely devoted to fighting trainers purely for the sake of level gain. There's nothing interesting about the terrain. There are barely any wild Pokemon, and none really of interest, and no real cool items to grab other than this rose incense, which is probably for, like, breeding Roselia or something, I don't know. But overall, it's just a bunch of trainers. So I'm going to keep the trainers that have Hoenn or Sinnoh cameos, and edit out the rest, and try to fill up the dead air. Anyway, first up we have this thing, Spinda. Spinda is, well, I hesitate to call it a gimmick Pokemon, but the only thing interesting about it is that it has, every single Spinda basically has a different pattern of spots. I mean, it's not like literally every Spinda, but there are approximately 4 billion different combinations of spots. So you're unlikely to see the same design of Spinda twice, unless you play as much Pokemon as me or something, I don't know. So that's a lot. It kind of sucks overall though. Like 60 base stat and everything, no evolutions, poor move pool, nothing great. And then we have Volbeat. Volbeat is one of 2 Firefly Pokemon that was introduced in Hoenn for the sake of showing off the double battle mechanic, much like Plusle and Minun were introduced together. And I believe it's pure bug, and not bug flying. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I don't really care, because it's Volbeat, and nobody cares about Volbeat. I mean, I have a vague impression or memory that even between Volbeat and his counterpart Illumise, like, Illumise is better. Hell if I know. But, it's not very good, unfortunately. There's a distinct scarcity of good bug types, and Volbeat does not fix that issue. Anyway, not teaching Double-Edged Debris, because generally I don't like recoil moves. That's the extent of that explanation. And let's move on. This is apparently a route filled with a lot of schoolboys and teachers and whatnot, and I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, clearly it's all thematically linked, but I don't see a school around here. The only school in this region is in Viridian, so I don't know. Anyway, that guy hints at a little thing. You can get gym leaders' phone numbers and rematch them later. But the conditions for getting their number and the conditions for when you can call them and rematch them are extremely specific and a pain in the ass. So I will not be dealing with that. And like I said, they don't change enough for me to really care. I know I'm a terrible person. Yeah, good job, Ernie. And now we have another Pokefan kind of counterpart to that trainer that we just fought. Now pay close attention to the pattern on this one, Spinda. I think it's different. I don't think the last one had a little spot on its mouth. I mean, for all the variation, they all look the goddamn same. 4 billion different combinations, and I can't tell one apart from the other, so But if you catch a Spinda and decide to use it on your team, which, well, after all the trash talking I've given it, and I now feel like I have to do at some point, that Spinda will always be your Spinda, and no other Spinda will be like it. I wonder if, like, all the players in the world combined have encountered 4 billion separate Spinda. Because, I mean, I don't know the sales figures for all the Pokemon games, several million each. But even then, that's a lot of Spinda. Good lord. If you're curious about the exact number of Spinda possible, it's 2 to the 32nd power minus 1. That's the exact number. I don't have the full calculated thing out, but it's a lot of Spinda. Anyway, Illumise, counterpart to Olivine, Volbeat. We don't even care. Doesn't matter. Screw it. I think Volbeat's always male, Illumise always female. Truly thrilling. Anyway, Webster, learning Psychic. After my confusion in the last episode about Janine's Ariados having Psychic, here's Webster learning Psychic. Fantastic. So it's better than Nightshade at this point. Nightshade kind of lost its usefulness once Pokemon got a lot more HP. Basically, fixed damage moves like Nightshade and Seismic Toss have their uses at the beginning of the game and in, like, the metagame when you have a Pokemon who really can't dish out a whole lot of damage otherwise. But generally they have better things to do anyway. Anyway, over Hizzle we got more schoolboys and a teacher. I don't know. I don't know why there's no school around here or something. I'm confused. And I think it was relatively similar in Red, Blue, and Yellow. I don't know. Anyway, Claris here has a Zigzagoon. Hello, Claris. Zigzagoon is the Route 1 normal type for Hoenn, and it's actually pretty well liked for a variety of reasons. It has the pickup ability a lot of the time, which will let you get cool items sooner. It evolves into Linoon, which can get Belly Drum, which maximizes its attack, and it's a wonderful HM minion, so actually not too bad in an in-game standpoint. And then we have Roselia. Roselia is a grass poison type, I believe. Pretty neat. Hoenn, of course. And I feel like my connection with Roselia is pretty strong because Roselia was the first random shiny that I ever encountered. I found one in the post-game of Diamond, and I remember I was playing in the morning and I was like, man, it would be cool if I, like, ran into a shiny right about now. And then, like, 5 minutes later, I ran into a shiny Roselia, which looks the freaking coolest. It's like purple and black flowers. It's awesome. It's now a Roserade. It's really great. And Roserade's actually pretty well liked. At least last I checked in the metagame. It's got good special attack and decent speed, I think. It's definitely dangerous in-game. I would recommend it. Anyway, Roselia does not go down. Screw you. Curses. I feel betrayed. And of course that ingrain somewhat counteracting the burn, but not healing it enough to save it. Alright, goodbye, Claris. And then who's this guy? Yeah, something interesting. What interesting thing does he have? It is a Budew. It is the pre-evolution of Roselia. Retroactively inserted in the Sinnoh games. Levels up through happiness in a day. It's another one of those baby Pokemon that nobody asked for, but it's cute, so I'll accept it. Also, it is Poison Fight. Screw it. Screw it. I hate it now. Anyway, check out the rest of these routes after this commercial break. I swear I'll keep it interesting, don't worry. Alrighty, let's continue on. Not this way. That way is blocked off. Alright, so this next upcoming section, once we get past the trainers hanging out by the wind turbines here, this next section is almost interesting geography. Almost. Not quite. But as you'll see in a second, stop talking to me, bird keeper. I'm trying to hype this thing up. As you'll see, it is a maze. And mazes are always interesting, right? Well, sort of interesting. What makes this maze a little more interesting is that oftentimes trainers will walk up to you, and that will change which routes are actually open and closed. Like this, see that? I just opened up a path. And I think that's an actually creative and interesting and probably unintentional use of the walk up to the person mechanics. Anyway, here's a picnicker. She is a Whismer. Whismer is a normal type, fairly early on in Hoenn, evolves twice, never gets great, but is pink. Yeah, I want to use one in a full playthrough, I really do. It's another to put on my list of things that I want to use someday. Which I've probably said about half the Pokédex by now, but Whismer is really cool, and every time I play through, like, Emerald or something, I mean to use it, but I just never do for some reason. Anyway, here's a Weasel. Weasel's something I never want to use. Introduced in 4th generation, it's a water type, and it's just, I don't know, it's goofy looking. It has an inner tube around its neck. It evolves into Float Soul. It's apparently not bad. Physical water attacker, but it's just, I don't like its design at all, really. And that's my final opinion on the matter. That's disgusting, Lyra. Also too much information. Also, it's a water type. Why the hell would it need baths? Okay. Alright. So continuing onwards, we have another old man. He probably had some we don't care about. And, ooh, I think down there, you see there's a dead end to the south that, like, was kind of conspicuous next to the sign. I believe in the original games there was an item hidden there, but not anymore. Here's a double battle that we don't care about. You can tell that things are really boring when I'm editing out a double battle, which I usually keep in just on the merit of being a double battle. Anyway, bird, keeper, whatever. Now we're entering on to this kind of boardwalk pier of sorts, and eventually it's going to turn into a bridge, which I found out, like, in an earlier playthrough that it's actually called the Silence Bridge, and I never knew that. But it has a name. It's just not referred to by name on the town map or anything. Anyway, this is Spoink, 3rd generation psychic type pig dude. Pretty rad, evolves into Grumpig, which I think is actually a decent, at least like underused, special wall. It's fun, it's cool. It's a psychic pig, what's not to like? And another bird keeper. And what a wonderful birds does he have? He has a Taillow. A lot of 3rd gen Pokemon here, actually. Taillow is the normal flying type introduced earlier on in the Hoenn games. And it's actually notable because it's pretty good. It can get the Guts ability, and that combined with the move Facade and the items like Flame Orb can compound to create a very, very strong Swellow, which is its evolved form. So it's probably not good by metagame standards, but it's pretty good, like for any reasonable person to use. Hello, Fisher. You're unimportant. I mean, I like that guy for whatever the hell that dialogue was. I think he might have been a guitarist or something. And here we can finally get the greatest rod in the game, the Super Rod. So if you like fishing, this is a place to go. And I think this is actually where you got the Super Rod, or maybe the Good Rod, in Red, Blue, and Yellow. So that's a nice bit of continuity. The fishing guru has not moved. And here, I'm not going to show it off, but there is another route off to the east there that will lead back to Vermilion, but it is blocked by a certain roadblock that we'll be dealing with in a few episodes' time. And that just about wraps up our trek over these couple routes. So I hope you could tolerate all of me essentially stating the origin of a bunch of Pokemon that were not originally here. And you will see some much more interesting and thrilling and climactic things in the next episode. So for now, let's head on in to Lavender Town, and I will see you guys next time.